Imagine a quiet Arabian night in the 6th century. The stars shine brilliantly over the rugged mountains surrounding Mecca, a bustling but isolated city central to the trade routes of the Arabian Peninsula. This city, defined by its pagan rituals and tribal divisions, could never know it was about to witness a story that would change the trajectory of history forever, the story of a man named Muhammad. Muhammad ibn Abdullah was born around 570 CE into the Quraysh tribe, a respected but modest lineage within Mecca. His birth itself was tinged with hardship. His father, Abdullah, passed away before he was born, and his mother, Amina, died when Muhammad was just 6 years old. Orphaned at such a tender age, Muhammad was left in the care of first his grandfather, Abdul Muttalib, and then his uncle, Abu Talib. From an early age, he knew the weight of loss and the challenges of survival, traits that would shape his character and destiny. Even as a boy, Muhammad was unique. Meccans gave him the nickname Al-Amin, meaning the trustworthy. Trading caravans traveling through the desert often relied on his honesty and fairness, and he quickly became known as a man of exceptional integrity. But beyond his external reputation, Muhammad seemed deeply moved by the problems that surrounded him. Mecca at the time was a place of stark inequalities. The rich grew wealthier, while the poor were neglected. People worshipped a pantheon of idols housed in the Kaaba, a sacred sanctuary in the city, but the spiritual emptiness was palpable. Tribal rivalries often led to bloodshed, and moral decay pervaded the fabric of society. Muhammad, introspective and empathetic by nature, grew restless within this environment. By his mid-20s, Muhammad's life took a new turn. He began working for a wealthy widow named Khadija, running her trading caravans. Impressed by his diligence and honesty, Khadija soon proposed marriage. Despite being 15 years older than him, their union was marked by profound love and mutual respect. Stories tell of how Khadija was a source of comfort, encouragement, and stability for Muhammad. Together, they raised a family, including 4 daughters. Their marriage was a critical foundation for the stormy seas Muhammad would one day navigate. As Muhammad grew older, he sought solitude to reflect on the chaos and injustices of the society around him. He would retreat to the cave of Hira in the mountains near Mecca to meditate and pray. It was during one such retreat in the year 610 CE that his life and history irrevocably changed. Imagine the scene. Muhammad, now 40, sitting quietly in the dark cave, eyes closed in deep thought. Suddenly, a presence fills the air, and a voice speaks, a voice unlike anything he has ever heard. It is the angel Jibril, known in English as Gabriel, delivering a message that would forever alter the spiritual trajectory of the world.
Recite.
I cannot recite.
Recite.
I cannot.
But then, as if the words are etched into his very soul, he finds himself speaking verses of profound beauty and meaning.
Recite in the name of your Lord who created man from a clot. Recite, and your Lord is the most generous, who taught by the pen, taught man that which he knew not.
Terrified and overwhelmed, Muhammad fled the cave, trembling as he sought comfort in Khadija.
Cover me, cover me.
But Khadija, wise and calm, reassured him, saying,
By Allah, he will never disgrace you. You uphold the ties of family, speak the truth, and assist those in need.
Her belief in him became Muhammad's first pillar of support as he processed the magnitude of what had just happened. Over time, Muhammad received more revelations, each one adding to a growing scripture that would come to be known as the Quran. But the mission he was called to undertake was not an easy one. The angel's message was clear. There is no God but Allah, the creator of all things. This message was a direct challenge to the polytheistic traditions of Mecca, where idol worship was not just a religious practice, but a cornerstone of the city's economy and power structure. When Muhammad began preaching openly, urging his fellow Meccans to abandon their idols, many viewed him with suspicion, even hostility. How could this man, quiet, kind, and unassuming, claim to bring a divine revelation? The elites of Mecca in particular saw him as a threat. Muhammad's followers, a small but growing group of believers known as Muslims, faced persecution. Among them were slaves, women, and the underprivileged, whose newfound faith in the oneness of Allah gave them hope and dignity. Yet this very faith also made them targets of mockery, beatings, and even death. Despite the hardships, Muhammad's resolve never wavered. His mission was not just to spread a message of monotheism, but to instill values of compassion, justice, and equality in a society deeply divided by tribal loyalties and socio-economic disparities. In the year 622 CE, after years of persecution, Muhammad and his followers embarked on the pivotal journey known as the Hijra. They fled Mecca for Yathrib, a city later renamed Medina in his honor. This migration was not merely a physical relocation, it marked the birth of an entirely new community united by faith rather than tribal lineage. In Medina, Muhammad became not just a spiritual leader, but also a statesman, drafting the Constitution of Medina, a groundbreaking document that outlined rights and responsibilities for Muslims, Jews, and other communities in the city. Medina flourished under Muhammad's leadership, but the conflict with Mecca was far from over. Over the next several years, Muhammad and his followers faced military confrontations, including the famous battles of Badr, Uhud, and the Trench. Despite being outnumbered and often outmatched, the Muslims showed resilience and strategic brilliance. What's remarkable, however, is that even in the face of hostility, Muhammad consistently emphasized forgiveness and reconciliation over vengeance. By the year 630 CE, Muhammad's mission reached a turning point. With a massive following and the city of Medina as his base, he and his companions marched toward Mecca, not as conquerors bathed in bloodshed, but as humble emissaries of peace. When the city surrendered without a fight, Muhammad's first act was to enter the Kaaba and cleanse it of idols, restoring it to its original purpose as a sanctuary for the worship of one God. His treatment of the Meccans was equally astonishing. Instead of exacting revenge on the leaders who had once tormented him and his followers, Muhammad declared a general amnesty. "Go, for you are free," he told them, a gesture that would resonate for generations as a testament to his character and mercy. For the next 2 years, Muhammad continued to teach and unify the Arabian Peninsula under the banner of Islam. But in 632 CE, at the age of 63, he fell ill. On the 12th of Rabi al-Awwal, he passed away in the arms of his beloved wife, Aisha. His death brought immense grief to his followers, but his life left a legacy unlike any other. Today, over 1.9 billion Muslims worldwide consider Muhammad the final prophet and a model for living a life of integrity, compassion, and devotion to God. His teachings continue to inspire acts of charity, justice, and forgiveness across the globe. Yet, beyond religion, Muhammad's life offers something universal. A story of perseverance, humility, and the power of change. His journey, from orphan to trader, persecuted preacher to statesman, and ultimately to the messenger of God, reminds us that extraordinary transformation can begin with a single, sincere heart. And so, the story of Muhammad doesn't really end. It continues in the hearts, minds, and actions of those who strive to follow the principles he lived by. It is a story of faith, yes, but also of humanity. And in that sense, it is a story for all of us.